Well, I hope y'all can hear me okay. So I'm off the Mentor truck. I still have hours to go. Um, I'm going to be kind of brief on everything I'm going to say, but I'm going to get into some conversation. The lady that I was on the Mentor truck's kid, I call her a kid because she's only 26 years old. She acted me a little bit, a lot younger than that, but we'll talk about that more here in a little bit. I'm not going to say as much. I can't really talk too much about some of the things on the truck. And the reason I won't do that is I'm waiting to do the lease purchase thing. So it's going to be some months before I actually get into the full things of this experience. Some of it is going to be quite funny, and some of it's going to be like, you know, um, I think I'm just around 50 hours left on being on a mentor truck as a refresher, because I'm a refresher. They can call me a refresher student because I have 3 years experience of driving, but I was off the road for 4. My concern more is my backing. I did more of just driving with this individual. I did a few backs, but nothing. I mean, easy backs, like just putting it in the dock door. That's nothing. Parking at a truck stop where there's plenty of room. That's nothing. What I need to do is work on close quarter backing. So the company I'm at, they offer a backing course. I hear that the guy here in Phoenix is pretty good. The young lady that I was on the truck with, she's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna try to get all your hours because I'm gonna go home time, and let's try to finish up your." So I think what she thought I was gonna do was just do all these hours so she could take a big check home. To her, she was gay, so she's very open about being gay, and her wife, girlfriend, whatever the hell that was. So I can take this, so we can get it done. Well, there's no way, but because I'm not dumb. You average out how we're driving, and there's no way in hell I'm going to finish out the remaining hours that I have, and we're in week 3. We would need the full 4 weeks to try to get close to the hours that I had, teaming, that I needed. Y'all forgive me, I'm kind of moving here. So I'm at a hotel right now here in Phoenix, because I put all my stuff in storage. As you hear, my voice is a little deep. I've been fighting a cold, which I think I got from her on the truck. I'm gonna say the truck was not necessarily the cleanest truck. I've seen people's trucks who's worse. I won't say I'm the neatest person in the world, but my trucks, when I'm in them, are very neat because it's such a small space. You cannot be unorganized in a truck. It's a hot mess, and you need to be able to get stuff. This truck was like, stuff was everywhere. It was just, anyway. We won't go into that. We'll go more into those details later down the road. But from this experience and from talking with Trucker Bill, I'm going to talk about a few topics in the point of being a mentor or trainer, however you want to look at it. And as I said, I did train before. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. I did train before. So, I got the 450, guys. I'll talk about this some more, too. And I'm going to talk about Blue Tiger because I'm going to put them down, even though I'm probably going to get the headset. But the salesperson was a freaking idiot. And we'll talk about that later. So I'm going to have 2 just to back up in this one. But because my other one, y'all should see my other headset. I had the original blue, the Blue Parrot. I had the original Blue Parrot, the one that was really, really good, the 250, that was bluish gray. And my earpiece is falling off. I still have it. And it says a lot that they had it from 2010 to present, and the dang thing still works, but it intermittently disconnects. So I think it's just old, but I'm going to probably keep it too until it just totally stops working. Anyway, this is the new Blue Parrot 450. I'm going to talk a little bit about being a trainer, and I want to talk about it because I saw things with this young lady. I also talked to a gentleman who had come out of my orientation who just finished his 200 hours, and he had an experience that was really bad. And also, and even when I trained, it was just something. My first thing is, and I know nobody in trucking is probably in the trucking company is paying attention to my little behind of nowhere, who's no one. But I really think that what trucking companies need to do, and some trainers are not going to like what I'm going to say, but I'm saying it's not for the people who really have a heart to train people and produce good drivers. I'm not talking to them. Those people are probably a really small percentage. I'm going to say maybe 5% of the people who train out here in the transportation trucking industry. The other people that train in that industry, and I'm not saying for Prime because I can't say Prime. I like the way Prime's training program looked. Another one I think that was kind of impressive to me was KLLM's training program, at least from what I can see from the trainers on YouTube. They seem to be more in depth on what they're doing. I think Conway was another one, which is XPO now, which I just found out because I just got through talking to the safety guy who had tested me out. He's here, and he gave me contact information if I decided I want to go back there after I get some more, get my feet wet. Because we talked and he remembered me. So, and I guess they're under another company now. So, they're not XPO. Something's changing with them just recently. But anyway, their new hire training program I hear is quite good. Those three companies. I can't tell you about Conway's because I haven't really seen it, but I like how long the student has to be on the truck with a mentor or trainer. I'm very impressed with Prime's training program on what I've seen of it, and just even seeing some of their trainers online. I think his name's Junior Honduras. I'm very impressed. And when I first saw him, I thought he was a dick. Excuse my French, I'm just going to keep it real. I just thought the guy was a jerk. But then what I realized is that this guy really cares about what he produces. And I've subscribed to his channel. If you guys are new to the industry, I really recommend this guy's channel. I like the time and what he does. He takes it old school. I mean, he don't have the GPS on there because I think it's Rodney or whatever. I'm watching his trainer, Cheney is on there now, and they're hilarious together. But he doesn't have like the GPS. He's teaching how to use a map. I mean, and I'm just coming off a truck where we didn't have a map. We didn't have like the atlas for, that's my other phone. We didn't have the atlas for the truck. This might be two parts. Trucking atlas. I carry guides. This was a guide a newer guide, but old school truck stop guide, and it tells you what interstate like you're on. And I know there's a lot of new apps on our smartphones, but sorry, that fell off. I know there's a lot of new apps on the smartphones like Trucker Path, which is great, and things that you can use. But I still feel that you need this old school method because if you are someone, I'm a trip planner. When I get my load, I plan my driving method, and I plan how far I'm going to go, where I'm going to stop. And even if you're teaming, to me, you should plan out, okay, you're going to try to get to here, and let's stop here and swap out here so that it's planned better. And that wasn't really done on the truck I was on. There was a gentleman that I met here in my orientation that talked about, I guess he had an experience where, and he's done with his training. I guess I don't know what's true, what's false, but he said he went down a mountain in 10th gear. And I was like, I couldn't even pick my teeth up. And this is what his trainer told him to do. So I'm going to use that as an example because when I'm going back to 2010 for me, I'm not going to get all into his and what took place because my understanding is that it was discussed, that they know about it. And so that's been handled. But as a trainer, I would never tell a student, I wouldn't take a truck down a mountain into 10th gear. Posted signs that say, take your truck in lower gears down the mountain. And for those of you new to trucking, I'm going to give you the philosophy I got from Bill that worked for me, and this guy's been driving for 30-some years. The same gear you go up a mountain with that load, you come down the mountain in that gear or one gear less. And I put my brakes on. I don't even usually, if you do it the right way, you don't even have to touch the brakes. And I just let it coast down the mountain. Smoothly down the mountain. Okay? The individual that I was with said the Jakes didn't work on their truck. Well, they won't work if you're in the higher gears trying to go down a mountain because you're already going too fast, so they're not doing what they're supposed to do. It's a shared role that the Jakes play. You're in the proper gear going down, and you have your Jake going. And what it does is it retards the engine, so it smoothly goes down the mountain. Okay? We'll talk more about my experience. Sweet person, but I was literally there to hold that wheel. That was it, and they get their miles, and I realized that. And that, to me, is a detriment to the industry. But the problem is the industry is set up to continue this. So there has to be a change. What would be my suggestion for the change? This is just the idea I had. Personally, I don't think you should give them all of the miles. So if you have a driver who's getting, let's say, 40 cents a mile, and they're going to get the 40 cents a mile for the student's miles, I think you should only give them 10 cents a mile. And if the student graduates and gets a truck and goes on their own, then they get the remaining money at that time, meaning that they have to make sure that they have invested in helping that student get their backing down, their driving down, and whatever they have to test out down. That makes them invested in that student's success. Now, I know a lot of drivers, and then at the end, when that's done, the company releases the total dollar amount of mile money that was really earned. So, an example, if you have a student doing 200 miles, for example, let me give you an example. I'm going to pull my calculator out. So, let's see, let me turn this sucker on if it's got the battery working. See if my battery's working on this puppy. Maybe it's not. Yeah, I don't know. My battery might not be working on it. It's been in a bag for a while, so it might not be working. I might have to toss it. Okay, so you have a student going, let's say, 200 miles. Let's say the trainer should have made $1,500. I'm just going to use a random number. So if they get 10 cents a mile, let's say they only get, let's say $150. I'm just going to use an example. At the end, when they're done with their training process, you release the remaining of whatever $1,500 to the driver, the trainer, once the student passes and is given a key to the truck to get their own truck and get rolling and get on their own, and they've been approved by safety or whoever they get approved by to drive for the company. Once they pass that and they get in their own truck, then the driver gets, I don't call it a bonus, but the money's held into a account. And then once it is, it's just like called your success account or whatever, and successfully, train this driver to be good at what they do. Here you go. Here's your loot. I believe that it would force the drivers to be more accountable who want to be trainers before the money, to be more accountable to make sure that the person behind the wheel is actually competent instead of just a glorified steering wheel holder. And that's my calculator is solar, and it's been in a bag, so I don't think the battery's charged up. So what's happened, unfortunately, is you have a lot of drivers who have not, they're just after the money. So they don't really care if you pass. Can you go straight? Go straight. We're not going to help you back and give a damn about your back. And, I'll put it in there. I'll put it in there. Instead of really helping you get those tight backs. Also, it forces them to learn how to speak and interact with a trainee, because it forces you to learn skills to be successful at training people. And, like this kid, he told me, he said the guy was just screaming at him. He said, so he really, he pretty much got his hours out the way. He says, I can back, but if it's a close quarterback, I don't know how I'm going to do. That's something that should be practiced. Every time you go to a terminal, they know where the close quarter training takes place. Take your student out there and give them some practice. That's something I was watching on Junior's channel. And give them the practice that they need to get this truck in the hole, whether it's close quarterback or not. So, that's just an idea. I don't believe that they should release the full amount, the 40 cents per mile or whatever it is per mile. Pay them a fraction of what they're supposed to get. Hold the remaining into an account. And when the student is off the truck and successfully is given a key to their truck because they have met the company's standards to drive a truck after coming off your truck, then guess what? You now get the money. But if that student has to go out, because I've heard that some students have to go back out with another training for another period of time, if that student has to go back out with another trainer, then you just forfeited that money, because your goal is to successfully train them. And so it basically makes you invest in the person. It also holds you accountable to assess whether somebody might not be competent to drive in the industry. Now, it's not to say you can't go, oh well, he can't get it within 2 weeks, so he's got to get off my truck. No, you're going to do the things necessary to find out. Now, that's just an idea I had, so I'm gonna talk about that. So that's just kind of my training idea. I'm gonna probably put a second video up because this is already at 15 minutes. But I'll put a second video up. We did some winter driving too. I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about distracted driving, and I'm gonna get back to that. Peace.